right now?
This is why I work so hard for moments like these, and I've had like an 18-week training camp. It's insane, man. But we've done it right with the team I have behind me. I couldn't be more prepared for this.
Is this the dream? I mean, you're here, you're in the UFC, or is it one more before you feel like you've lived the dream?
Oh, there's one more. This isn't anything. Winning on Saturday night, I think it's a step in the right direction to becoming a world champion. I think that's everyone's ultimate goal when they get into this sport. So I think being the ultimate fighter is a huge step in the right direction.
What do you think about the matchup? Obviously, you got a little bit more experience than you do, but how are you feeling about it?
I know it's a big statement, but I say Roy's never fought a guy like me. He's fought guys like Orlovsky and Munson and stuff like that. And, on the show, going into the house, obviously, I think Roy was the favorite, having his experience and his background and stuff like that. But, he's fighting a different animal, on Saturday night, and I bring a lot to the table, and I think he's aware of that. So I wouldn't consider myself an underdog in the least bit.
Fight with Marcus, I mean, you were in a tough spot there. Obviously, that was a while back, but is that the kind of win that you can build off of and take some confidence out of?
Yeah, I think, I hate to toot my own horn, but I think it was the fight of the season. And, Marcus is a monster. He's finished everyone down there. So my thing is that, I just have a fighter's heart. I'm never going to give up, and I think that showed in the Marcus fight, and that's really what won me that fight. I got in some terrible positions where most guys would be finished, but I ended up pulling out somehow. And, I can always count on my heart pulling me up.
This is the big stage, obviously, but you train with a lot of guys that have been here. Have they given you any advice on what to expect and, how not to get nervous or lock up at all?
Just coming from the camp I do with guys like Nate Marquardt and Shane Carwin, Elliot Marshall, and Rashad and Keith and Holes Gracie, I mean, the list is crazy, man. Those guys, being around them, they're dealing with the media all the time. So I kind of, when I came into the sport, I was used to it just from those guys, hanging around those guys and hanging around Shane Carwin all the time. So I definitely think I'm prepared for this.
When you and Roy were in the house, I mean, there's so much time to talk about things. Did it ever come up, a conversation where, hey, me and you could see each other in the fight?
You know what? We never talked about it, but we knew, when we trained together and we'd spar, whenever we'd roll, we'd kind of avoid each other. We never ended up going at it. I had a pretty idea he was going to be in the finale, and so was I. So we really didn't train together, man. We were close in the house. We were really cool with each other. Whenever I got bored, I either talked to Kimbo about his line of work, being security guard in the porno business when I got bored, or I talked to Roy and his experiences. He's been in the game forever, man. So it was one of those two guys I talked to if I was bored.
What about after the semis? How did you guys leave it when you went back to Colorado? What was
on good terms? Me and Roy, we're actually buddies. For me, it's not hard to put the friendship aside and go out in the cage and try and take his head off. A lot of guys, in the house, are like, oh, well, we're friends, we can't fight. Listen, man, I didn't know you before I went in the house. I'm sure said, we're boys in the house. I'm not even gonna remember your name 2 weeks after this. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of guys took that out of context and let the friendship thing come before the career. So I don't have a problem doing that.
In your blogs, you wrote that Shane Carwin kind of wanted a break when he found out he wasn't fighting in UFC 106, but you talked to him and to help him out. Can you kind of tell us what happened?
Yeah, Shane has been up and down, man. Obviously, with all the Kane talk and Brock Lesnar having, I don't know what he's doing. I'm sure he's sick as a dog, but it's been up and down, man. He's been in the gym, out, and it takes its toll on him mentally. And he wanted to take a break, and I think his wife Lonnie wanted to take a break, and I just told him, I said, hey, man, I need you now more than ever. We have great training partners and stuff like that, but me and Shane started this together, and we could train in someone's backyard, and we'd both be in the same position we're in now. Me and him, that's all we really need. So
can you go over your relationship real quick? How'd you get?
Yeah, Shane and I both started at Nate Marquardt's gym in Aurora, Colorado, and I got there, and like, oh, you're a big, strong guy. We got this other meathead who would love to meet you, and he's looking for a training partner. So Shane comes in, they told me to come the next day at like 2 o'clock. I get there, and obviously there's this monster of a man, and we're just talking, and he's like, hey, we're going to spar tomorrow. It's really my first day of sparring. He's like, hey, we're going to spar tomorrow. I'm like, okay. He's like, you might want to bring a mouthpiece and headgear. So I went to, like, you know, some podunk store, got this like old school football helmet headgear. I roll in, and we don't look like we do now, man. We literally was like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. We literally had no head movement and just traded 1-2s, and then we left there and we just had a lot of respect for each other. And he called me up, he's like, "Hey man, I love training with you." I was like, "Yeah, this is awesome." And kind of where we're at now.
You say you wouldn't have a problem fighting friends, but you know,
that's different. That's different. With Shane, he's the only guy I wouldn't fight. Anyone else, you got it, man. You name it, I'll fight him. Shane Carwin, not a chance. He's the reason where I'm at, and he's like a brother to me. You know, he's not some guy I was in the house with and we were buddies because we were cooking steaks together on the show, you know. So with Shane, it's a little different.
With heavyweights being so big nowadays, you know, the guys cutting down, after this fight, do you consider going down to 205?
Heck no. It'd be such a tough cut for me. This is the thing. So Brock Lesnar and Shane, though everyone sees them, that's not your typical heavyweight. That's a super heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? Like 240, 245, whatever, 8% body fat. Junior Dos Santos, Kane, those are heavyweights. Shane and Brock are super heavyweights. They're monsters. So don't look at them like the average heavyweight. That's not your average heavyweight. Don't compare me to them, all right? Because you know what I'm saying? Because those guys are monsters. They are. They cut down, you know, to 265. So I think there's a new wave of heavyweights coming in, a little more athletic. You know, Shane and Brock are, you know, they're freaks. So I don't think that's your typical heavyweight.
Well, Marcus Jones is kind of that big too.
I know, man. He's a freak too. I don't know. There's a couple of them. That was rough. Yeah. He's the first time when I jumped in the cage, I thought, what the hell am I doing, man? You look up and he's tall. You know, he's like taller than the cage, and that was a tough one to take in for sure.